One reason why Splatoon is so enjoyable to players is because it provides such a wide range of different weapons to play with. We started with 7 different weapon classes in 2015, and now we have 11 in 2025. At this rate, we'll have 13 when Splatoon 4 comes out. With each new class, the existence of each existing class is threatened, specifically in the competitive scene. And today and overall recently, that class has been Chargers. So if you're curious why some Charger players can dominate lobbies but can't hang in the high competitive scene, allow me to give my take on why Chargers probably won't ever be meta in Splatoon. For the purposes of this video, I really wish I could confidently say that Chargers won't ever be meta instead of just saying probably. Now that's not because I hate Chargers, but because if you grew up playing Splatoon 1, you understand. Believe it or not, there actually was a time when Chargers were quite popular and even meta in competitive Splatoon. Say hello to first generation E-Leader.
I beat it, man. Sway hit the ceiling. Swish the rolls. Me and my brothers dressing all white like Minutemen. Can never wish death upon no one like it's many men. 50 cent up on the dollar. How that make any sense? They tryna scam my indie artist for his mini band.
If you think Chargers are broken now, you have no idea what it was like in 2015. This was when Chargers and especially E-Leaders were the best they've ever been. But then once Splatoon 2 dropped, Chargers were nowhere to be found among competitive players. And even though the state of Chargers has improved a little bit in Splatoon 3, I wouldn't say they're meta. So why the sudden downfall? What happened to Chargers? Let's take a quick moment to examine what Chargers do well and what they don't do so well. Starting with strengths, most Chargers excel in range. After all, E-Leader does have the most range out of any other weapon. Even the shortest ranged Chargers like Squiffer still have relatively good range. Chargers also do a great job of creating space and making their presence known. I mean, when there's a Charger on a stage like Mahi in mid, getting back is no easy feat with all the range it's got. Another strong characteristic is that Chargers kill on contact. Unless you're using tap shots, without ink armor in Splatoon 3, one full charge shot always kills, with the exception of Bamboo and Pen of course. So overall, most Chargers have a lot of range, create a lot of space, and consistently kill on contact. Let's discuss some weaknesses now. I don't play much Turf War, but I doubt many Chargers are seriously used because Chargers don't paint very well. As a former high-level competitive Splatoon player, I would say the 2 most important aspects in a match are paint output and kill frequency, and I think most others would agree. So when trying to comprehend why Chargers aren't meta when they fail to perform one of the most critical aspects in the game, it's easier to understand why. However, another downside of Chargers is actually kill frequency as well. In most battles, it's rare for a Charger to top frag unless the circumstances are suspiciously favorable. Overall, while Charger players don't die much, they don't kill super frequently either. So Chargers fail to perform both of the most important things in Splatoon well. Also worth mentioning is that Chargers can sometimes act as a liability. When you enter into a game, if your team comp consists of 3 front lines and 1 mid line, it's not really that big of a deal. In fact, I'd actually be pretty happy with a comp like that. But if your team has 2 front lines and 2 back lines while the other team has 4 front lines, things probably won't go as well. As always, it depends on the map and mode combo, but generally having too many backlines or Chargers can hurt your team. And this is because it's hard to be a playmaker with Charger, and it's not all that difficult to be a playmaker with something like a shooter or slosher or any other Slayer front midline. But backlines, particularly Chargers, take a good deal of teamwork to really make having a Charger worth it. Of course, if you're very talented with a Charger, you don't really need to rely on your team as much to create opportunities for you, but the majority of us need a lot of coordination to make the weapon really work. And while other backlines like Hydra or Rapid Pro also need coordination to shine, Chargers require the most, I would say. This doesn't mean Chargers aren't good and can't work, but it's a lot easier to work as a team with front and mid lines than a Charger. Now for those who are involved in the competitive scene or have watched previous videos of mine, I hope you've been thinking about something so far.
He says Chargers aren't meta, but Pen is totally meta.
Why yes, you are right about pen, but to say chargers are meta when only one type of charger is being used would be incorrect, would it not? If Dynamo was the only roller used in competitive, I couldn't say rollers are meta, and I think it's kind of a stretch to say pen is a charger when it doesn't operate like any other one in the game. Every other charger operates with 1 shot per charge, but pen gets 5 in 1. But whatever, we'll say it's a charger because technically it is. The point I'm trying to make here is that if chargers aren't meta, why is pen meta? Well, let's look back at our outline of the strengths and weaknesses of chargers. Does pen have range? Yes, it has lots of range. Does it create space? Yup. Does it kill in 1 shot? No, it doesn't, but since you get 5 separate shots from 1 charge, it can kill just fine even if it takes 2 shots to land. So it checks out on all the strengths, which isn't that surprising, but what is surprising is how it averts its weaknesses. Unlike every other charger, pen actually paints extremely well. It's actually kind of mind-blowing how well it paints despite the nerfs Nintendo has thrown at pen. And the fact that pen has juice as its special just magnifies the significance of its ability to paint well. And whereas most chargers can't rack up a bunch of kills, pen's got 5 shots, so taking down opponents is a little bit easier. So when you wonder why pen is such a standout charger among the rest, it's because it actually doesn't really suffer as much from the same weaknesses that every other charger does. And the fact that it has the best special in the game. So if chargers probably won't ever be meta in Splatoon, what needs to happen to them? Perhaps we can find some answers in the past when chargers were meta back in Splatoon 1. To keep things short and simple, the main answer is damage up. For those of you who never experienced Splatoon 1, there was an ability called damage up, and it did pretty much exactly what it says it does. When a charger stacked a bunch of this stuff on their gear, killing opponents with a whole shot was actually optional. With enough damage up, you could take out someone with 3/4 of a charge. Combine this with E-Leader, which had Burst Bump for additional damage, and I think it's pretty blatant in why chargers were absurdly meta in Splatoon 1. Damage up and really helpful sub and specials. So did the meta season of chargers really have anything to do with chargers themselves, or was it because of abilities like damage up and favorable subs and specials? To be honest, I don't really know for sure, but I mean if chargers were meta when all this stuff was around, and then once it all went away they weren't meta, you have a logical argument there. Independently, chargers are good, but not meta because they cannot produce what most other weapons can. To be meta, they need a very favorable surrounding atmosphere like Splatoon 1 had. Unless Nintendo creates more hybrid chargers like pen that can bypass their crippling weaknesses, or they significantly amplify their current strengths, this is why chargers will probably never be meta in Splatoon. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
You gon' fit across. See the spirit on me, chill like Randy Moss. Then you gon' see the shine walking around.